Welcome, Gracia. I'm super happy to have you here today at this insightful webinar for the Freelance Academy hosted by 9am. And my name is Yuri. I'm a community builder at Code Control in 9am. And I'll be your host for today. And our amazing guest is Gracia Ravelli. And also, Gracia did her speech at Freelance Unlocked conference that we hosted in Berlin this year. And we hosted the second conference in 2025. So if you never heard about it, you've already heard about it. And Gracia was sharing her strategies for averting freelancer burnout. And if you haven't seen this video, I will share it right away in the chat, the link. So please save this link for the future and then check after this webinar. And yeah, today we are here to talk about the importance of making small breaks for getting huge gains and how it helps you to be less stressed and more focused. And before I'll hand it over to Gracia, oh my God, it's already Q&A. No, it's not Q&A. Where is my second slide?
That was quick.
That was quick. Yeah, exactly. I have no idea what's happening. But anyway, okay, it's not a Q&A. Let me tell what's going on. So first, I'll quickly explain what it's the 9am.works and how it works. Then we'll listen to Gracia's experience. And finally, you all can ask any questions you would like to about Gracia's theme. So get ready for that. And please add all your questions while listening to Gracia to a Q&A session, because after her speech, she will answer all your questions. So 9am.works, it's an all-in-one tool that you need as a freelancer to bring more jobs faster and with less effort. And whether you are just starting or growing your freelancing career, the 9am will help you with getting new clients by creating a standout profile, having all the projects in one place and even delivered to your inbox, and super quick, God damn it, not quick, but super quick one-click apply for connecting with projects and show clients details to follow up easily, and many more great things. And definitely we have a great supportive community of freelancers just like you who help each other to deal with challenges and grow their freelancer businesses daily. So sign up, go to 9am.works, sign up if you are not there. And if you will have any feedback, share your thoughts with us right away, because we are craving for ways to improve. And just like that, I'm stopping my presentation. Even though it's Q&A, it's not Q&A yet. So Gracia, handling it to you, and now it's your power. So let's welcome Gracia. Woo-hoo.
Thank you so much, Yuri. Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to be here. And if I had thought about it before, we could have started from Q&A, but we won't. So we'll start from the beginning. I am a well-being and performance coach. I basically help overworked professionals structure their life so that it revolves around life and not just around work. One strategy for structuring this life is to slot into the day work some pauses, some breaks. And the easiest way to get started with it is to start small with these micro breaks. And this is the theme of today. So I've put some slides together for you. But I promise I will make this as entertaining and as engaging as possible. It's not a lecture. You won't be stuck looking into a laptop for the whole hour. We'll engage. Okay, so what is this about? Basically, it's a small guide to help you use short intentional breaks throughout your workday so that you can improve your concentration and optimize your energies. This is the topic, what this is for. But I'd like to ask you, what do you do this for? Why are you here? And I'd like to gauge the sentiment of the room. So I'm going to ask you to react. So click the reaction button in the bottom part of your Zoom screen and select the clap emoji if you're here to learn something, maybe something new, or maybe to relearn what you already know. Hit the thumb up if you're here to cut your excuses. You know that you're making up some excuses or telling yourself you don't have the time or anything similar to that, and you're here to learn some strategies to overcome this. Hit the heart emoji if you are doing this as an act of self-love. You're telling yourself, hey, I deserve this, I'm here for that. And finally, the lol emoji if you're here to take a break, ironically. So feel free to engage in the reactions, in the chat. Just set an intention. You don't have the heart emoji, just choose another one. Feel free. We'll get creative. We're all a creative bunch. This helps you understand the reason that brought you here, and keep that reason in mind so that you can check in at the end of the session to see how this perception or intention has changed. Okay, so I'll try to keep a pace so that we get enough time in the end to have 10 minutes of Q&A, like we've spoiled at the beginning. But we'll also make sure to get a couple of micro breaks in this session, because you know, the best way to get started is by doing something. Okay, we're talking about micro breaks, but what are they really? Well, micro breaks are these small, short, time-limited breaks that can go for 1 minute. Some scientific studies also talk about 30 seconds, up to 5 minutes. Secondly, they are intentional, meaning you have planned for it or you took the decision to have the break. So interruptions don't really count as break. They can be triggers to break, but it stops at that. And finally, they are disruptive. So they somehow break the flow of your work or break the flow of an activity that you are engaging in. And so this is the what. Why are we talking about micro breaks? It is all related to this concept of our performance. And I'm not meaning this in a very competitive way, talking about high performance or top performance or peak performance. It's just simply what the word implies, to how we perform as professionals, but also as human beings, as our, like, how is our body performing? And this concept of performance is very complicated and complex, but simple at the same time. A simple equation to understand what performance is to think that it's made out of our potential minus all the interferences that come up in our daily work. Interferences can be external, so calls from clients, a ping on Slack, but they can also be internal interferences, the moments when we're stuck with self-doubts. And I'd like us to work with an image today. This is because our brain works best with images. And the image is the one of the iceberg. The performance, how we perform, is the tip of the iceberg, what we see. There is a ton of it also below the waterline. And actually, to higher up our performance, we need to operate below the surface as well. So for the matter of today, the performance, if we think about when we're working, is made out of the results that we get from our work. And the potential stays in between the waterline, a little bit above. So it's the actions that we take to get to certain results. And it's also a little bit hidden, our hidden potential. The interferences that I'm referring to are our thoughts and our emotions. So today we are just going to deal with those interferences that we have some sort of control on. Not entirely sure how much you all can control clients calling or pings on Slacks or any other external interference. So I'd say we start working with this iceberg from what we see from the top of it, and we work our way down. We'll do that throughout the webinar, and at the end, we'll jump into some implementation techniques. So you've got something realistic and practical to take home with you, hopefully. Okay, the top of the iceberg, our results. Scientific studies tell us that taking micro breaks give us really positive results. At the metabolism level, for example, only being in motion for 2 minutes is able to reset our metabolism, and our metabolism is quite quick to decrease as well. So 30 minutes of sitting actually equals to a shrink in metabolism by 90%. Scientific studies also say that it's really good for our blood pressure. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic remedy for our efficiency. So we become 50% more efficient when some sort of stretching and movement is included in these micro breaks. And micro breaks help us also reduce the amount of pain, physical pain that we feel. It's also fantastic recipe for our concentrations because taking a break allows us to maintain the focus throughout the day, and it lowers our cortisol levels. You may have noticed that here the animation got a little bit messed up, and I was kind of getting stressed up on this. I tried to fix it at one stage. I was like, no, you know what? I'll walk the talk. I'll take a micro break on this and just leave it at that, because nobody will die of this. Finally, taking micro breaks is fantastic for our creativity. And we are all, as freelancer, creative in a sense. We need to come up with a lot of troubleshooting and problem solving. Well, taking a break actually kicks in some subconscious dynamics in our brain that helps us process the information differently than we do when just banging our head on the wall on the same problem for hours at end. So we know that taking micro breaks is really good for giving us some good results. Yet, when I ask my clients how they are feeling about their flow of work and if they take any micro breaks at all, I usually get these type of responses, different type of results. A lot of them tell me that they struggle to think clearly, that they find themselves foggy-headed and quite confused at the end of the day, especially that's when they notice the most. We may get stuck in paralysis by analysis. So we analyze a problem, an issue, way too much, and then we take no action for it. We tend to focus only on the negatives, and this is if we don't take breaks at a regular pace. We start to become overwhelmed. We feel overwhelmed as if nothing will get better. I'm doing this, I've tried that, I have a plan A, B, C, down to Z, and nothing is working. We may find ourselves having disproportionate reactions at an emotional level to a particular event. For example, we send out a client proposal, it gets rejected, and we make a big drama out of it. And it's not our first rejection. We've had them before, we handled them quite well, and then all of a sudden we find ourselves in this downward spiral. We may have or notice conflicts with people that we work with our friends, partners, family. And there's also the dead butt syndrome, which sounds funny, and it is actually a thing, meaning that our glutes muscles do not respond anymore because we've been sitting way too long. And they won't respond to specific exercises for those muscles as well. It is a condition. So we've seen that science says microbreaks are great. We find ourselves struggling at the emotional level, at the mental level. And we have a whole lot of data proving this. I work with this company that is called PeakPath, and we help overworked, really high-paced professionals in prioritizing their well-being. How we do that is that we give them some wearable devices like this Aura Ring, or it can be a smart watch, and we collect the data. So I reached out to my colleague in the data department and I asked them, hey, can you provide me some data from our clients related to how much time they spend restoring compared to how much time they spend stressing out. And in this data, I am included because I'm wearing one. So you see data collected from almost 800 individuals. There are 56,000 data points. So I guess that makes a good sample. What we're finding is that if during a day, we take at least 60 minutes, an hour or more resting up, then the minutes of the day when we become very reactive to things happening around us, meaning we become stressed, are only 82. If this threshold of 60 minutes doesn't get reached, meaning we don't restore our body over 60 minutes, then we are experiencing almost double the amount of stress throughout the day. And 60 minutes, if you think about it, is just spread around 24 hours. These are biometric data based on how your heart behaves, your body temperature, your emotions. So we've got scientific studies telling us this. We've got our emotions indicating that when we don't rest up, then we act differently. And we've got biometric data. So the question is, why don't we take breaks after all? And my clients have come up with different responses to it. I come up with different responses in very busy days. And I'd like to ask you these questions. So I invite you to either go to menti.com and type in this code, or grab your phone and scan the QR code and let me know, what is it that is preventing you from taking some breaks? Have you got any ideas? It's an anonymous poll. Feel free to be very transparent and tell me your views on it. Do write in the chat if this doesn't work, yeah? Oh, there we go. And you should be able to start seeing the responses. The first one was a test, and sometimes running a test is also a reason why we don't take the breaks. Then we've got a lot of work happening, similar to workflow and anxiety. Well, you're not alone. It's a whole lot of us experiencing this. Feelings that I don't have the time to take the breaks. There we go. Knowing that I am to some extent supervised, monitored, so that I know that my supervisor will see that I'm not active or that I'm active. All of these are very valid reasons, and they are universal. You are not alone in there. I have heard these many times before. We're going to work with this. I'm going to give you a couple of tools today to help you look at these thoughts and these emotions from different angles so that you may find solutions to fixing them up. The last we've got in is feel that few minutes is not enough. Okay, Great. Well, hopefully the data that we've just shown has somewhat given you different points of looking at this. And hey, micro breaks are just the start. We start small. Nothing is stopping us from going beyond the 5 minutes. Okay, so back to it. We've been talking a little bit about the what and the why. We are going to get into how we can get micro breaks integrated in our day. However, I think this is a great point in time for us to actually have a micro break. We've been staring in a computer for 25 minutes and our attention usually drops after 20-25 minutes. So what I'm going to do is that I will pull up a video showing nature. And this is because it's been proven that looking at nature just for a few minutes actually helps you come back restored, and it charges up your battery a bit. If you do not feel like watching a nature video for 1 minute, that's how long it lasts, feel free to go grab a glass of water, stretch your legs, do something, and I'll see you back in a minute. This is your chance to get started with the habit of having small breaks. Here we go. All right, micro break is up. Well done you for completing one. Now you can give yourself a tick. I saw somebody was stretching over there, and that is a fantastic alternative. Okay, we've seen the what, we've seen the why we don't take them. Let's have a look further. Okay, we start to get closer to the waterline here. And we're going to have a look at the actions that we take to get the results that we get. When preparing this webinar, I thought, well, we are all creative, right? We freelancer, I am a freelancer myself, and need to come up with different solutions for different problems. So in doing the research, I stumbled upon this really interesting book that is called The Daily Rituals by Mason Carey. What they did is that they analyzed the lives of 160 creatives, just like us, and these spanned from painters to sculptors to philosophers to mathematicians to part of companies management. And they looked at what their daily rituals were and what they had in common. Well, a part of it comes down to structuring their days in 4 different ways. One way is to incorporate walking and physical exercise. You can still walk in 1 minute. You can do still physical exercise in 5. Some examples here to inspire you. Beethoven's and Darwin took a very long walk. Tchaikovsky went up to 2 hours. Way number 2, inserting some naps and prioritizing the sleep. Churchill is perhaps the most famous example of having naps in the afternoon. And I mean, the guy was pretty busy, especially under World War II. The painter Dali used a technique that he called slumber with a key. Basically, he would hold the key while trying to fall asleep. The moment he fell asleep, obviously the muscles of his hand would relax, so the key would drop, making a noise that he would wake him up. Now, studies have shown that just as reaching that sleep state helps us reset our brain. And this is a technique that, for example, Thomas Edison used as well, and the guy patented a whole lot of different inventions. Category number 3. Setting up the work-rest cycle. The writer Trollope worked for exactly 3 hours in the morning, and he went on to divide them in timed intervals. And the psychologist Jung also spent part of his afternoons mind wandering. He had a specific room in his house to do that. Finally, to schedule some downtime. Both the painter Matisse and Stravinsky made sure that they had some longer breaks, especially after intense periods of their work. Now, I know that citing very famous professionals may not be super inspiring after all, because we may say, oh, well, you know, they had the time and they had the recognition and the reputation to take the time. Yet they didn't start off famous. They were pretty busy in their own ways. There is a common theme here. The common theme is that there is no one right way. Curiosity takes different paths. Efficiency does the same. And whether we take a strict or chaotic way to organize our workflow, we need to find it, and it's our responsibility to cultivate our practice. No one else will cultivate it for us. This is what professionals that understood the importance of rest work cycle were doing or are doing. We may find ourselves with different type of actions. I can tell you that most of my clients do. These type of actions, what are they? And I type them all in capital letters because sometimes my clients feel so much about it that they almost shout them out. We may find ourselves working through lunch or munching down, sculling down something for lunch while in front of the computer, taking a call and typing. And feel free to tell me in the chat if any of this resonates with you. They don't have to resonate and you don't have to have them all, but some of them may strike a chord. We may find ourselves turning down social calls and say, yeah, I love to hang out, don't have the time, don't have the energy. So many unused gym memberships. I had a client who came in and told me, hey, I've got 3 gym memberships, never used one of them, don't make the time. We ignore physical discomforts. Sometimes I log into a session and just to find a client that says, oh, you know, I have a really, really sore back. I haven't been to the physiotherapist in months and I keep telling myself I should. Constant multitasking, going from one thing to the other, trying to push 2 projects at the same time while actually working on both of them, scattered focus there. We tend to delay hydration. We have our water bottles perhaps, and we just never open them, arrive at the end of the day and we're thirsty as. Organize a back-to-back schedule. No buffer time between meeting. When we see a window for something, then we just put something in. Postponing bathroom breaks. This is a thing, especially if you have an attention deficit disorder. If you have ADHD, this is really, really common. Powering through. simply just saying, I just need to get there, just need to get there. And finally, relying too much on caffeine, alcohol, energy drinks, tobacco, you name it. All of these basically make us take no breaks. Is any of these resonating with you? There we go. We've got in the chat people saying, yep, going to the gym, but you're doing stuff at home. Well done, you, Yuri, not having lunch at all. There we go. You may find yourself in this situation right now, or you may be heading there. In this case, preventing is key, or you may have found yourself there. Let's dive below that waterline. What's driving these actions that we just saw that then in turn get to the results that we have? And let me know if any of these resonate with you again. We may tell ourselves, I don't have a choice. I have to power through. Don't have a choice. I can't take half an hour for lunch. We work as much as we can to invoice more. And we're all freelancers here. We know how important turnover is. We just work, push our boundaries more and more and more. We've got no idea how to. You may be surprised when I ask, okay, you're talking about bringing in some restorative time. What are your ideas on this? Blank faces like, what? No idea. Don't know how to, never done it before. This is particularly interesting. We can only relax when a certain thing is done. Or I'll take a break when this project is over. I'll take a break when I've finished the mock-up. Or I'll just close the computer when I've gone through the list of things that I have to do. And this is super interesting because we are putting a condition on something that doesn't need to be earned. Resting is an implicit part of how we function. Think about sleep. It's not that it's not something that we need to earn. It's a requirement for us to function, right? We make no plans or goals around taking a break, so we don't put it in our calendars. We don't tell ourselves, today I intend to take 2 micro breaks. We simply don't plan for it. And finally, we work as much as we can because it feels like nothing is ever enough. I've done this and this and this, and I tried this and that, and still I'm not getting the results, so I need to push more. And these may be universal truths, they may be not, they may be just individuals, but what they all are is that they are some limiting beliefs. So something that we tell ourselves, we believe in it, but they actually limit our ability to perform. And I'm not talking about high performance again, I'm just talking about performing also from a physiological point of view. Okay, now we've gone under the water line. To start thinking about how to handle these thoughts that we just thought, I remind you that we've got the most amazing machine, computer, with us all the time, and it is our brain. We just need to learn how to use it, because actually there are 2 parts to the brain that make us act on something or react to something. And usually the default mechanism, how we're wired, is to react in a very fast, emotional-driven, impulsive way. This is a part of our brain that's called the limbic system. It's the most ancient part of our brain, and it's called the reptilian brain because it's that old. Basically, what happens? Something happens in your life. It may be that you are in your workflow and you're assigned or you assign yourself a new task. So our instinct is to react on it, jump on it, start working at it, and that leads us into overworking. We've got another choice, and that is to engage another part of our brain that is actually a little bit slower, a little bit more logical, a little bit more precise. And this is our prefrontal cortex. So tool number one is when you find yourself having a reaction and you may notice it also from the way your body responds to it. Like you get an email and then you jump on it, just like this movement, or your heart rate goes up, you start sweating, you start moving around because you feel nervous, fiddling with things, or you get irritated, then do recognize that this is your reptilian brain kicking in. Here, you've got a choice, and it's in your power to choose whether to rely on this reptilian brain or whether to just pet it and say, I know reptilian brain, you can even name it. Mine is named Paula. I know Paula, I know you want to jump on it, but you know what? I'm going to take it easy. And this awareness can be trained. The more you train it, the more your physical responses to it will actually go down. Yes, I did name it Paula by someone that I wasn't really getting on with, and they were resembling the same impulsiveness. So think about somebody who is impulsive. Maybe it's even you, or maybe it's an affectionate name that you give. Okay, so this is tool number one. We've been talking about it for 15 minutes. So how do you feel about taking another micro break? Yuri is saying, I would call it Ice, my dog's name. Brilliant. So you can pet the dog or pet the reptilian brain as a proxy. Okay, so if you feel like staying with us, we're going to do some stretches. You can stay sitting down. I certainly will, otherwise you won't see my face anymore. And the Italians have to move their hands and face together, otherwise we're disqualified. If you feel like, feel free to stand up. If you don't feel like doing some neck stretches, then feel free to go and grab a glass of water. I'm going to introduce you to two different stretches that you can do at any stage when working. This really helps us spending a lot of time in front of the computer to just get mobility back into our neck and shoulders. Oh, sorry, no, I've postponed it. Let's do it like this. Let's skip this. We'll come back to it. First exercise is called chicken neck. You know the chickens, when you move them, their neck doesn't move. Well, we're going to do the opposite. We're simply going to move our neck. How are we going to do it? When we inhale, we push our chin forward, okay? Try to keep your shoulders down. Inhale, chin forward. Exhale, the chin goes backward. We do it another time. Inhale, chin forward. Exhale as your chin goes backward. We do it one more time. Inhale forward, relax your shoulders. Exhale, your chin goes backward. We stick to the animals and we give our neck another shrug, this time right to left, just like an owl would do. So we simply inhale as our chin goes to the right. Keep your shoulders down. Exhale as you come back to center. We do it on the other side. Inhale as your chin goes to the left. And exhale as you come back to center. One more time so that we stretch a bit further. Inhale as your chin goes to the right. Keep it close to your neck. Exhale back to center. Inhale to the left. Just give it a good stretch. Exhale back to it. How are you feeling and how are your necks feeling? Okay, Ready to roll further? We go back to those beliefs that we had. These ones over here. Things that may keep us from making some time for our rest. Okay, these beliefs, so this was the tool, first of all, around catching your brain and the impulse, the default mode to jump onto things. The second tool is that we can look at what we think and try to turn it around. I'm going to give you one tool to do it and some examples on how to do it. For example, we may tell ourselves, I have a client meeting, I really cannot decline this. This is because we are looking at the potential cost of declining the meeting, which is we're going to lose precious times with the client, we're going to lose on our productivity, we're going to lose an opportunity, maybe we're going to lose the momentum that we built up with this client, and possibly we're going to lose turnover. How about you also look at the potential gain? What could you gain from declining that meeting? And stretch further. If you cannot decline it, so if you have to attend, which other aspects of the meeting can you influence or control? Maybe it is the duration of it. I have clients who now go into meeting and say, hey, I know we said half an hour for this meeting. Do you mind if we cut it short at 25? And nobody has ever turned down such an offer. It's 5 minutes, right? But that gives you the buffer time. Look at what you could gain by modifying the factors. Another example, I'm by myself. I'm a one-woman or one-man band. I have to do everything, right? I have to jump from client meetings to doing my work, to doing the invoicing, to doing the sales and the marketing. Again, we're looking at these costs. And this is going to stay the same for most of the thoughts, beliefs that you tell yourself. This a way to turn it around is, well, if you're doing everything, you're also looking after your health and safety. So how good of a job are you doing as a health and safety? Are you actually recharging your system enough so that you don't burn out? Or are you simply ignoring the sign? Because this gives you the responsibility to own your decision. Another couple of examples. Rest must be earned. That's what we were telling before, right? I only rest when this is done. Okay, it must be earned. But what is the ratio work-rest that you set for yourself? It can't be, I'll work, and when work is done 100%, then I'll rest. Because that is the famous condition that we talked about before. What is it? Is it I'll do 60% of my work and then do some rest? Is it 75? Is it 25? You're free to decide, and you're free to experiment with it and decline the ratio or increase it over time. It doesn't have to change all at once. Do gradually. And finally, I cannot keep habits up. Even if I tell myself I'm going to start with these micro breaks, I know I will fail in a week time. Okay. It's a lot of us like that. Well, who is around you good at keeping your habits up? And what could you learn from them? Shift your focus from what it is costing you to what you could gain. And again, this is a shift from the reptilian brain to the more advanced brain that you've got. If you've got any questions, make sure that you put them in the Q&A and we can talk about it, come back to it. Okay, so we took the micro break with the two animals over here. Final sprint. Stay with me for another 5 minutes. I'm going to tell you 3 different methods on how to implement these micro breaks. So we're getting into the nitty-gritty practical ways to implement them. These are just ideas taken from how my clients are doing them. Feel free to take whatever inspires you, try it out, or take them, blend them, or come up with your own idea. And if you do, make sure that you share with the community so we can all learn from it. Okay, implementation method number 1. This is the before-after rule, and it is borrowed from the book Atomic Habits from James Clear. He's a kind of a guru when it comes to habit. We basically look at our schedule, at our routine. We all have a routine. We all do something every day, even if we don't recognize it as a routine. It could be I take a coffee every morning, I make myself a tea every morning, or I check my emails every morning, or I go to the bathroom. That is a routine too. Look at what's happening already in your day. Pick something that is happening every day, and then you tell yourself, well, before this something, I'll make the time to insert a micro break. So you know that before you arrive at that something, that habit, you are going to stack on it another habit. You can do it before, you can also do it after. This is basically giving you a hook, a trigger that is already recurring, that is already happening. It's basically giving yourself a rule. So before this happens, I will take a micro break, or after this, I will take a micro break. And then you simply start implementing it day over day or multiple times per day. That would be even better. This is the before-after rule. Take something that's already happening. Way to implement number 2 is the jar method. You take a jar, a glass, a cup, something, you put it next to your laptop or where you are working, your desk, your position, your studio. Then you collect some healthy snacks. Could be almond, could be a small fresh fruit, it could be some dried fruit, could be a sugar-free cookie, could even be a small piece of dark chocolate. And then what you do is that you place them all in the jar. And anytime you have a micro break, and you could even set a reminder for it on your phone or on your calendar, you can have 5 post-it every day and you just peel them off. Something that it reminds you. Every time that you have a micro break, then you open up the jar and you take a treat for yourself. This helps your brain to get the reward, a healthy reward for doing something, and it helps you stay hydrated and nourished throughout the day. So you can set yourself these 5 reminders throughout the day, and I choose 5 because you could split it between the morning and the afternoon, and you get to have a reward at the end of it. Final way to implement this, it is called the win-win method. You have your water bottle next to your, there we go, we've already got someone who drinks a lot. So you will have your water bottle next to your laptop, again, in your studio, on your desk, wherever you're working from. But do take a glass as well. And any time you didn't spoiler it, don't worry, it's great that you're already using it. Anytime that you drink up a glass, so don't drink directly from the water bottle. Anytime you drink up a glass, which is a smaller measurement, then you get a micro break. So you get a win-win of winning some hydration, winning some rest time. It could be a walk, it could be keeping a yoga pose for 2 minutes, it could be coloring some mandala or just drawing something, doing something creative. It could be engaging in some conscious breathing with an app guided without, you just focus on your breath for 2 minutes. It could be doing some light stretches. So these are just 3 ideas, 3 methods. Feel free to borrow, steal, mix and match, come up with your own share. Finally, I just wanted to leave you, and I'll ask Yuri and the guys from 9 a.m. And Freelancer Locked to circulate this. These are some ideas from breaks, divided into your working week and divided into morning, lunch, afternoon, and in the evening. They span from something physical, like doing 5 jumping jacks. If the jumping jacks are too much, you could go back to the chicken neck or our turn. Then we've got some breathing in there. We have some short videos of nature. Go out, daydream. Feel free to make it your own. You could even print it out, and anytime you do it, just give it a tick. That really helps, signaling to your brain that taking a break is good for you, for your body, but also for your mind. With this, I am wrapping it up. Feel free to get in touch and share. And I wanted to leave you with a quote that I found very apt to it. And it is, almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you. So thank you so much for your attention. And back to you, Yuri.
Thank you very much, Grace. I would also add to this quote, everything will also work again if you hit it. So at least you know how old computers, you had to hit them or something.
Or the old TV that would get back the signal.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's many ways to make things work. But yes, please, folks, connect with Gracia on LinkedIn. I shared the link to her LinkedIn in the chat, and ask additional questions because we have 5 minutes for now. So please ask your questions now, but definitely won't be able to get all the answers. So that's exactly why you have to go and connect. And you know, Gracia, it was the first webinar that ever gave me some time back. So not took time,
yay,
but really gave me some time back, because it's always, you know, like if it's a webinar or workshop, you just sit, you just do, and you kind of give it back. So thank you very much for that. And I also have this question. So you show the video of a nature, and you told that seeing a nature makes your brain rest and get a micro break. But I'm curious, is there a difference between seeing nature on the screen and watching the nature outside? So what's better from your perspective, to just take a picture or video of a nature, or just maybe walk outside, or just look out of the window? How does it work?
Great question. Well, as if with almost everything in life, original and true to touch version is absolutely better. So if you have the chance of walking outside in nature, please do it. It's also just enough to place yourself in front of a window. Maybe you have a big tree, or maybe you've got a park just downstairs, or maybe you could even look at clouds passing by. It really helps you, first of all, disengage from this short sight looking that we are all faulty of when working with a computer. So it's really helps your eyes readapt to long distances. Secondly, it gets you away from blue light. And thirdly, it allows your mind to wander. This said, nonetheless, just looking at nature also in a video or in a picture form has been found to be beneficial.
You know, it's so fun that you mentioned about the mind wandering. And we had recently this Freelance Drive podcast with Pauline Kazak-Bagatur, and she told that go have some yoga, go have some meditation. And the idea of the meditation that you have to get bored. And I was like, that's how it works. Because I was thinking that you have to think about stuff and
I'm doing it right because I'm getting bored.
Yeah, exactly. And I was thinking that I was doing it wrong, because I stopped doing this because I was getting bored, and I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely not doing something right. But that's exactly how it works. So one of the additional ways of how to do it. And once again, You know what I also really loved this how you phrase it. You can cut a meeting, kind of like do what you can control. And I feel like that's something that freelancers, you're like, oh, the clients wants to meet, oh, I can do nothing, etc., etc. But then like, yeah, like can we have this meeting like 5 minutes less or whatever? It never hurts, but it's like such a great life hack to really win some time for yourself. I was like, oh my God, it's so obvious, but I've never done this, but I will do it from now on. So thank you very
Yeah,
much
it's
for that.
about focusing on the aspects that you can take, that you can control or influence. And you can ask. It's not going to hurt anyone.
And also there is a question from Aladdin. So should
Hmm.
the break be long or short, or it depends on the task?
Great question. Well, we talked about micro break, and there is a little bit of a range going from some say 30 seconds, some say 1 minute. That's the bare minimum, up to 5 minutes. I'm telling you from monitoring myself with the Aura ring with a device, I've noticed that it it records as restorative time if I do it at least for 10 minutes. But sometimes I simply don't have 10 minutes, And it is more at the beginning for each habit, it is the consistency of us doing it rather than the length. So at the beginning, aim for consistently doing it. And if shorter gives you more chances of making it happen, just go for shorter. Experiment with it. There is no, as we saw from the daily rituals, there is no one right way. You have to find, you can find a way that works for you. And if you notice that just a 3-minute break every hour, twice in the morning, twice in the afternoon works for you, great. Do that. Just aim for the consistency at the beginning. It's obvious that if you've had a massively stressful day, then try to get a massively relaxing type of activity.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gracia. So we are just right on time. So once
Hang
again,
on.
thank you a ton for helping to understand why and how exactly to take those small pauses. And I remember a long time ago we had a podcast with you and you told me like, hey, Yuri, do micro breaks. And it was like, I don't know, half a year ago or something like that. And yes, I'm doing this and I'm so feeling so much
Congrats.
better. So
Hey,
thank you
round of
very much for
applause for
that.
you.
And yes, once again, let me share Gracia's LinkedIn on the chat. So please, please, please go connect with Gracia, continue this conversation. And also, if you are not yet a 9am member, please go to 9am.works, click sign up and check it out and see the 9am community. And hopefully you'll even get some great jobs that will you get paid more and get more micro breaks.
So
And
get a
yeah,
break to join 9 a.m.
exactly. Do it right away. And yeah, once again, gracias. Thank you very much. All the participants, thank you very much for being with us today. And yeah, have an amazing rest of your day and talk to you soon.
Thanks to you
See you.
all.
Thank
Ciao.
you.
Bye.
Bye.